Dear students, my name is Dr. Shashi Vadanan and I am a professor of surgery and neurosurgeon in a tertiary care hospital in Bangalore. I would like to welcome you all to the online course on elderly care. Today I am going to discuss the topic age-friendly environment preventing falls amongst elderly. In this module, we will understand what is age-friendly environment, epidemiology of fall in the elderly, identify the causes of fall among the elderly, understand the risk factors, assessment and interventions, explain the fall prevention strategies and understand the post-fall management. As you all know, the global life expectancy is increasing each year. The World Health Organization reported that the average life expectancy at birth in 1955 was just 48 years. In 1995, it was 65 years and in 2025, it will reach 73 years. This longer life expectancy causes a rapid increase in the number of older adults, that is more than 60 years of age, doubling from 600 million in 2017 to 1.2 billion in 2025. Due to a longer life expectancy, maintaining a better quality of life is challenging. Populations around the world are rapidly aging. Aging presents both challenges and opportunities. Environment plays an important role in determining our physical and mental capacity. Age-friendly environment are free from physical and social barriers and supported by policy systems, services, products and technologies. It will increase the demand for primary health care and better trained workforce and intensify the need for environment to be more age-friendly. The age-friendly environment and practices include recognizing the wide range of capacities and resources among the older people, anticipate and respond flexibly by aging related needs and preferences, respect older people's decisions and lifestyle choices, reduce inequalities, protect those who are more vulnerable and promote older people's inclusion in contribution to all areas of community life. Let us talk about epidemiology. 1/3 people 65 years and older fall each year. Less than half of the elderly talk about their falls to healthcare providers. Every 29 minutes, an older adult dies from a fall. 1 out of 5 falls cause a serious injury such as a head trauma or a fracture. Over 2 million older adults are treated in emergency departments for non-fatal fall injuries each year. Direct medical cost for fall injuries total over 20,000 crore rupees annually. So, what are the consequences of fall? The consequences of fall can be physical or psychological. In the physical, the consequences we have skin tears, internal bleeding, subdural hematomas, hip fractures, immobilization, disability and hospitalization. Whereas in psychological factors, we can have fear of falling, increased dependency, depression, anxiety, loss of confidence and social withdrawal. Let us talk about the post-fall statistics. 40% of elderly suffering hip fractures following fall do not return back to independent living. 20% of the elderly suffering fall die within a year. Elderly who fall once or 2 to 3 times more likely to be falling again. 55% elderly suffer fall inside their homes and 1/3 of these falls occur in the living room or bedroom. With loss of mobility, the risk of fall increases. As the process of aging progresses, the incidence of falls increases. It has a male preponderance. Accidental falls due to environmental factors are the major risk factors. Weakness, balance deficits and gait deficits play a significant role in accidental falls. The risk factors for falls can be intrinsic and extrinsic. Now, this graph depicts the contribution of both towards the fall in elderly. Fall rates by age and gender. This is statistics given by WHO in 2007. It shows that as we age, the preponderance to fall increases each year, and it is more common in males as compared to females. Falls can be prevented. For this, one has to adopt the three-pronged strategy. This includes screening, assessing and intervention. Once the intervention strategies have been implemented, one needs to follow up and interview the elderly to see if they have helped in reducing the frequency of falls. If not, then one needs to re-evaluate. Studies have shown that more than 30% seniors do not like to mention or accept the shortcomings. It is the healthcare provider who should persuade them to undertake the corrective measures. The risk factors involved are both modifiable and non-modifiable. Among the modifiable risk factors, we have the cardiac status, the environmental hazards, medication use, metabolic disorders, vitamin deficiencies, musculoskeletal pain, foot problems, gait impairment, impaired activities of daily living, limited activity, lower extremity muscle weakness, use of an assistive device, neurological problems like delirium, dizziness, vertigo, Parkinson's disease and other movement disorders, auditory impairments, visual impairments, acute illness, anemia, cancer, inappropriate footwear, nocturia, obstructive sleep apnea, postural hypotension, urinary incontinence and others. Among the non-modifiable risk factors, we have age older than 80 years, arthritis, cognitive impairment, female sex, history of cerebrovascular accident, ischemic attacks, history of falls, history of fractures, recent discharge from the hospital, that is within a month, and the white race. Now, let us see the risk factor assessment and interventions. There is an objective scoring system which can be used to screen and identify the elders at risk. Once we have identified the at-risk population, we need to know the risk factors causing the fall. The risk factors can be modifiable or non-modifiable. Now, this chart gives an algorithmic approach to falls in elderly, which means that in case there is an elderly at risk of fall or who has already had a fall, there are certain tests which we need to do to know whether they will fall in future, and then we have to devise corrective measures. The next test is the 30-second chair test. In the 30-second chair test, you select a chair and sit comfortably with both the feet resting on the ground and the spine absolutely straight as shown in this video. The feet are kept and the spine is absolutely straight. After crossing both the hands and keeping them on the shoulder in this manner. Once you have kept this, you are in the position to start with the exercise. The moment the instructor says go, you will stand up and again sit down. The moment you sit down, again you stand up and sit down. The same cycle has to be repeated in as many times as possible within 30 seconds. For the chair stand test score, in case it is below the average score as per the age, then the elder is at risk of falling. The chart for the same has already been depicted in the previous slide, which gives the age specific scores for each age. The 4-stage balance test. In the 4-stage balance test, the first stage is you need to stand erect with both the foot side by side. As you stand like this for 10 seconds, if you do not fall or there is no loss of balance, we progress to the stage 2. In stage 2, you gently get one of the foot in front so that it is placed just next to the other partially. If you can stand in this way for 10 seconds, you raise the left foot and get it in the front in a similar manner. If you can maintain this stance for 10 seconds without losing balance, then we progress towards stage 3. In stage 3, we keep one foot in front of the other, which we call as tandem walking. In case you can maintain this stance for more than 10 seconds, then we progress towards the next stage, that is stage 4. In stage 4, what we do is we get both the feet apart. Then we lift one of the feet and rest it on the medial aspect of the knee region in this way without any support. If you can maintain this posture for more than 10 seconds, you are passed. Next, you try it with the other leg in this way. In case you can maintain this posture for 10 seconds without taking a support, you have a good balance. It is always advisable to keep a support next to you, for in case there is a loss of balance, one can always take support and prevent injury. The timed up and go test. In this test, you select a chair at home where you sit comfortably with both the feet apart, resting fully on the ground. The moment the instructor says go, you have to get up from your sitting position, stand straight, walk 12 steps, turn around and come back to the chair and sit down. In case you can walk 10 steps like this, turn around and again walk back the same and sit down in 12 or less seconds, then you have passed this test. Strength and balance needs to be done using 3 main tests. These are the timed up go test, the 30-second chair stand test and the 4-stage balance test. An older adult who cannot hold the tandem stance for at least 10 seconds is at an increased risk of falling. An older adult who takes 12 or more seconds to complete the timed up go test is at a high risk for falling. For chair stand test score, in case it is below the average score as per the age, then the elder is at risk of falling. In the fall risk checklist, we have a host of factors which need to be considered, and the healthcare provider, just by checking out yes and no, can know who are the people at risk of falling. A fall checklist allows making a clear note of the fall history and later helps in comparison. Now, how to remember the important causes of fall? It is given by an important mnemonic called I hate falling, and each alphabet stands for a particular factor, like I for inflammation, H for hypertension, A for auditory and visual abnormalities, T for tremors, E for equilibrium, F for foot problems, A for arrhythmias, L for leg length discrepancy, the second L is for lack of conditioning, I for illness, N for nutrition and G for gait disturbances. The elderly are at risk, need a detailed evaluation in which a detailed history is taken. So, we take a thorough history, we try to know the fall mechanism, that is the location of fall, activity related to the fall, injury suffered and witnesses and any help. Associated symptoms concurrent with fall, for example, in cardiac cases, any chest discomfort, palpitations, sweating. For neurological problems, we ask for lightheadedness, headache and tingling numbness in the extremities or nausea and vomiting. We also take the medical history, social history and functional history. This is followed by a thorough physical examination, in which we see the general condition, the hydration status, postural changes, vital signs looking for orthostatic hypotension, visual and hearing abnormalities. This is followed by the systemic examination, which consists of cardiovascular, neurological, mental evaluation, musculoskeletal evaluation, gait and balance, and environmental assessment. The common investigations which need to be done are the complete blood count, electrolytes, urea, nitrogen, thyroid function, X-ray, ECG, brain imaging, DEXA scan. Following these tests, we can divide the elderly into high risk and moderate risk categories. The elderly will then require individualized fall interventions, which will include a referral to the physical therapist, education, and other specialties if required. In addition, we will give them vitamin D supplementation, modification of medication, correction of vision, foot problems, and optimization of home safety measures, preferably by an occupational therapist. The high risk group will require a follow-up after 30 days to see if the interventions are effective. Multifactorial interventions for fall prevention includes exercises, balance, strength and gait training, vitamin D supplementation, management of medication, management of postural hypotension, vision problems, and foot problem correction. Exercises which improve balance and build up your lower body strength reduce the fall by 33%, which is very significant. The balance exercises include Tai Chi and yoga. Core exercises increase the strength of the deep stabilizing trunk muscles. Doing the exercise in group is better. This is supported by a video. The 4-stage balance test. In the 4-stage balance test, the first stage is you need to stand erect with both the foot side by side. As you stand like this for 10 seconds, if you do not fall or there is no loss of balance, we progress to the stage 2. In stage 2, you gently get one of the foot in front so that it is placed just next to the other partially. If you can stand in this way for 10 seconds, you raise the left foot and get it in the front in a similar manner. If you can maintain this stance for 10 seconds without losing balance, then we progress towards stage 3. In stage 3, we keep one foot in front of the other, which we call as tandem walking. In case you can maintain this stance for more than 10 seconds, then we progress towards the next stage, that is stage 4. In stage 4, what we do is we get both the feet apart. The knee raise exercise, just like the previous one, you stand straight with a support if required. Gently lift one knee upwards and flex it up to 90 degrees in this way without taking any support. In case required, you can always take a support. If you can maintain this stance for 5 seconds or more, you can gently bring down the right limb like this and then lift the left knee upwards in 90 degrees and try to maintain this same position for 5 seconds without support. Now, the side leg raise exercise. In this, you stand facing the support, which is a chair in this case. With one of the legs, you gently move it sideways without bending the knee in this way. You hold this position for as much as possible, preferably for 5 seconds, get it down, then the other leg, get it outwards, maintain this position for 5 seconds and slowly get the same leg down. The heel rise exercise. In this exercise, you stand again as the same position as the previous exercise. You keep both the feet close together, take a support and then gently raise both the heels together upwards. Maintain this position for at least 3 seconds or if more possible and gently come down. The same exercise is to be repeated again and again, at least in cycles of 5. This exercises strengthens the muscles of the ankle around and the feet. This is the staircase exercise in which you stand near one of the staircases at your residence or wherever it is convenient. Take support if required. Climb with one step up and down, one leg, one foot, one down, second down. If you can do it with support, it is okay. If you are doing it without support, it will be the best. So, this exercise also strengthens. Then sit to stand test. You sit comfortably on a chair unsupported with the spine erect and both the feet touching the ground, and both the feet and the knees at a distance equivalent to that of your shoulder width. Then you cross your arms like the left over the right shoulder and the right over the left shoulder. You stand and then again sit. Again you stand and again you sit. You can do the cycles in a cycle of 10. Repeatedly doing this exercises strengthens the back and the core muscles and gives you more strength and balance. Add 1000 international units of vitamin D as a daily supplement to help optimize muscle strength. Environmental factors include modifications which can be made in the living room, bedroom, bathroom, stairways and kitchen. They can reduce the risk of fall by 30%. In living rooms, one can remove throw rugs, clear away the clutter, position phone conveniently, remove all cords and wires and make sure the lighting is adequate. In the bedroom, install night lamps, make sure you can reach a light from the bed, make sure you can place a phone close to the bed, and if bed bound, install a call bell. In the kitchen, place frequently used items within easy reach and have a steady step stool. Keep the floor dry and avoid multitasking. In the bathroom, put a non-slip surface on the bathtub or shower, install grab bars, add boosters to toilet, consider a walk in shower, and before bathing feel if the water is too hot or too cold. Avoid or change the doors with difficult door locks. In the stair and steps, remove clutter, repair broken and uneven steps, add light switch to bottom and top of the staircase, make sure the carpet is not loose or torn, and make sure the handrails or both sides are secure. Fall prevention is a team effort. Improve the home supports, provide opportunities for specialization, socialization and encouragement, involve the family and provide follow-up. Medication lists of the elder needs to be seen and in consultation with physicians need to be revised regularly. The list of medicine increasing the risk of fall are given in the table. Primarily include anticonvulsants, antidepressants, antihypertensives, anti-Parkinson's drugs, benzodiazepines, digoxin, diuretics, Lasix, NSAIDs, sedatives and hypnotics. There are certain red flag signs which the healthcare provider must know. In case these signs are present, then one must take immediate medical help. While assessing a fall victim at the site of fall, first and foremost, assess the neurological status. In case the victim is alert and conscious, then it becomes easy to evaluate. But in case there is a dip in the level of consciousness, then be cautious while shifting the victim to a safe place. Assess the heart rate, blood pressure and respiratory rate. This will further tell us about the seriousness of fall injury. Shifting should be done with total immobilization of the spine. How to get up following a fall? This is depicted in the picture given below. Locate a sturdy piece of furniture, roll over to your side, push your body up, crawl on your hand and knees, put your hands on the chair seat, slowly raise from the kneeling position, turn your body to sit in the chair and regain your composure. Once a fall is suffered, the elders should be told not to panic. Elders should recognize the red flag signs, and the same must be known to the immediate healthcare providers. Distinguishing a trivial from a serious fall is important for implementing early treatment and rehabilitation. What if you can't get up? Cry out for help. Bang away with any nearby objects. Slide over to the telephone. Use your emergency call device or a call bell if possible, but do not panic. Get into a comfortable position and wait. When one should not move, or also the red flag signs. Unconsciousness or change in the level of consciousness, tingling, numbness in the upper or lower limbs, or sudden onset of weakness or immobility. Severe pain in the spine with tenderness on touch or gentle pressure are some red flag signs which one should look for. In such circumstances, move only after stabilization of the spine, because in case of spinal cord injury, movement without stabilization will worsen the injury. Let us talk about post-fall rehabilitation. This must include physical, social and psychological rehabilitation. Treat the life or limb threatening condition, reassessment of the risk factors and circumstances which caused the fall. Rehabilitation physically, socially, psychologically is very important post-fall. Physical therapist will provide muscle re-education as well as balance training and strengthening exercises. The occupational therapist will also perform home safety test to see whether the environment is safe. Before discharging, must ensure that the senior is comfortable in carrying out activities of daily living. Moving forward, an age-friendly environment is one of the most important challenges in responding to demographic transition, and in order to build an age-friendly community, the improvement of physical or built environments, social environments and security within that community must be considered. Thank you so much.